All right, welcome back everyone. I'm really excited to do this video today. I have a special guest. This is Mallory Barrick, and she is going to join me today. We're going to talk about all of the reasons that whole food plant-based could bless your life. She has a really unique story that she's going to share a little bit of with you to help you see that maybe sometimes we don't get our miracle cure when we go to a plant-based diet, and that's okay. And Mallory's just been on this really neat journey, and I'm excited to share with you of all these other reasons she has connected with and really resonated with that keeps her on this path. And that there really is more to this plant-based lifestyle than just a transaction of trying to get what we want out of it. There's so much that is given when we go this way of living and eating. So I'm excited to do that today. If you have not seen these videos before, or if you haven't joined us yet, I would love for you to come and find us on Facebook and YouTube. The name of our channel is Healthy Living with Danielle Dinkelman. And you can come and join that free Facebook group under the same name as well. So let's dive in. Mallory, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about you. I guess maybe I'll share what I know. I know you're a mother of two and you live in Idaho, which I love because I live here in Utah, but I grew up in Washington State. So I've driven through Idaho a lot in my years of living down here now. But tell us a little bit about what plant-based nutrition how did you come to it? Why was it important to you? And yeah, just kind of fill us in on that story a little bit. I am going to put a link in the show notes for viewers of your in-depth story that you shared with a friend of mine on her podcast, but give us the Cliff Notes version.
Sure. So I was really interested in eating healthy. I've always wanted to find a really healthy way to eat. And so when a few years after I got married, I started dabbling in different diets and different things, thinking I just wanted to eat healthy. And they didn't really work so well for me. And I ended up having lots of abdominal pain and other things, a few issues that just started coming into my life. And I was about 25 at the time. So I felt like I should be healthy. I was young, I should be healthy, but all these things were happening. I went to traditional medicine and they couldn't really figure anything out for me and couldn't really help me at all. And so I kind of gave up. And one time I had some books on reserve at the library and they were all ended up being whole food plant-based books. I had no idea how I reserved them. I wasn't really interested in learning about a whole food plant-based diet and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But as I've read, the China study especially, it just all resonated with me so much. And I thought, this is exactly how I need to eat. And I told my husband and he was on board with me pretty much from the moment I told him. And so, yeah, we've been eating this way for 3 years now, and we have been raising our 2 daughters this way as well.
Which is such a cool story. And I hope people will go and listen to your interview with Trish, because I love that story that you told. First of all, that it was total divine intervention that those books were the books that you picked up. And it was some heavy hitters. It was China Study. It was How Not to Die by Michael Greger. And was there a third one?
Yeah, it was just like the Forks Over Knives book.
Yeah, it's like, there's the canon of whole food plant-based doctrine right there, right?
Yeah, so, especially a few years ago, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So, and how amazing that your husband was very understanding, and you guys really have been going on this journey together, which is really special. I can tell you from personal experience. So that's really special to get that support so early on. So when you first kind of had that thought, okay, yeah, this is the way I want to go, was it just for physical health, or right out of the gate were you also resonating with other reasons?
Well, at the very beginning, I really thought this is what's going to help me end all the pain I was experiencing. This will help me because I was dealing with infertility. And so those are the things I wanted to see change. And yeah, I was pretty much sure that would happen instantly because it just seemed like such a miracle. So I was like, oh, this is going to work for me.
Yeah.
And that's really all I wanted to see, to be honest. And that's all I really thought I would see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people can relate to that. I would dare say that most people that come in this, not from a vegan standpoint, but from this whole food plant-based standpoint,
Mhm.
the message we get over and over, you watch the documentaries, you listen to the podcasts, you read the books, and the message is, hey, this is your miracle cure. All you've got to do is turn your diet around and turn this into a lifestyle, do it, and it will give you back 100-fold, right? And that's the promise,
Mhm.
that's the message. And it's a beautiful one, and it's one that I preach and that I share. There's a lot of like religious undertones already to this, but I
Mhm.
promise it's not that serious. But yeah, so a lot of us, I can definitely say most of the people that I work with in my coaching practice, they came to plant-based nutrition because they want some sort of physical improvement, right? For you, it was infertility and it was this abdominal pain and other health issues. For people that I work with, it's, they want to lose weight and they want to keep it off. Um, they want to be similar to you. They want pain to go away. A lot of people, it's joint pain. So this is common, right? So what was it? First of all, did it work? Did you get your miracle? Did it happen? I love how you said immediately. If I change this, I should see it immediately. So tell us a little bit how that played out.
Yeah, it didn't really happen immediately. It still didn't really happen. So I still have some pain. It's definitely lessened. I have to say in the beginning, I was doing my best. I immediately stopped meat and dairy and eggs and all that. And I've slowly stopped oil and processed food over the last 3 years. So I've definitely moved more from a plant-based diet to a whole food plant-based diet over 3 years. But yeah, my pain really didn't go away. I still struggled with that, and I still struggled with infertility. And so it didn't resolve in the way I wanted it to, or in the time frame that I wanted it to. And I still struggle with it a little bit today. Definitely not as much as I used to, but you still really hope that you just don't have to struggle with it anymore.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it didn't quite resolve all the way, but I am still hopeful and I'm still working on it and still feels like the right thing to do and the
Yeah.
right direction to be going in. So
Yeah, and that right there that you said is what I'm really excited to dive into today. As you and I kind of formulated what we were going to share today, it's almost like whole food plant based is kind of this iceberg that most of us just see the top of it. Of, oh yeah, come turn your health around, reclaim your health, physically, and that's what we're all so fixated on. But it seems like in this process for you of not getting that immediate miracle, that immediate healing that you wanted, you found a lot of things that were under the surface. So I'm excited to dive into that today, and I hope that people that can relate to that, yeah, they still haven't lost the weight. Yeah, they still have the arthritis. Yeah, they still, whatever it is, still battling cancer, whatever it is, if they haven't had their healing yet from this way of eating, then maybe there's something we can talk about today that will help them feel like there's a million other reasons to stay the course. So share with me a little bit. Why else would you keep going if you haven't gotten your miracle yet?
sure. So I think I want to start talking about being very passionate about things. It's made me very passionate about a few things in life. And one of the biggest things that's made me passionate about is the health of not only myself, but also as looking at my children and the health of my children and raising them on a healthy plant-based diet. I think a lot about what if I was raised this way? Would I have had to encounter these struggles that I have had in my life? And I wonder if I wouldn't have had to. I wonder if my body would have been healthier and I wouldn't have had to try to heal it. And
Yeah.
so as I look at my daughters, one of the most important things is that right now they trust me. They rely on me to feed them healthy food. And I take it as such a huge responsibility as a parent to feed them well and to teach them how to eat well so that they don't have to hopefully encounter some of the same obstacles that I've encountered with health.
Yeah.
And this has become so important to me lately too, because there are so many of my peers, of my cousins, and of my friends from high school that are my age. I'm 29 right now. And so many that are my age and younger that are facing huge health issues, huge things that are just so sad and so heartbreaking to me. And I just think we need to change this. This should not be the fate of the next generation to just have these health issues pile up at such young ages. And I just think, to me, and from my perspective, it's exploding. So I'm just so passionate about, I need to change this way for the future generations, right? I need them to be able to maybe have a little bit more, I don't know, just like a leap ahead of me on life. So hopefully they don't have to heal these things, they can avoid them.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I'm super passionate about. One thing that's, I was so self-focused in the beginning, and now I'm kind of looking, outside of myself. And it's a really important reason for me to keep doing this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you did enough of your homework. Like you read the big books, right? Like you understand the science behind this, that you understand that this is not some fad. This is not some trend. This really is a powerful way to live and a powerful way to raise our kids. I feel the same way. I have four kids, and I've had people comment, like strangers at the grocery store, and look at my children and look at me and look at what's on the grocery aisle or the conveyor belt, that I'm purchasing. And one time I had a checker say, "You eat really healthy, don't you?" And I said, "Yep." It's like vegetables and fruit. And she says, "I can tell." And I was like, "Oh, I know. And she said, "No, not the food, your kids." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "I see a lot of kids come through here, and your kids have a light in their face that I don't see on most kids." And that really got my attention as a mom. So I'm with you. Like, I have that fire under me too of, yeah, what a head start we give the next generation when we can help them, when this can be the normal thing for them.
Yeah.
It's powerful. So
That's
cool.
amazing. And I think, to go along with that, something that has changed with me is it's made me really brave, because this is a detour from the normal thing. And when you are raising your children this way, I just feel like you have to be brave, because you have to go to your pediatrician and get some nutritional advice and just be like, I'm not going to do that, and just be like, thank you, but no thanks. Like, that's not the way I'm raising my children. And that's scary, because they're the experts. They're the people that you're supposed to be able to look to for advice and truth and whatever. And to kind of step outside of that zone and say, I feel like this is right for my family, and I feel like this is how I need to raise my children, for their health. It does take a lot of bravery, and that's something that carries through to the rest of your life. If you can be brave with this, and if you can say, I can do this, and I'm going to do this for my children because I feel like it's right, then it carries over into other parts of your life too.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay, so what else? What else is keeping you going with this if you're not getting that miracle yet?
Yeah, so something else I've become really passionate about is on animal welfare. And this is really funny to me, because I grew up and I didn't have any pets of my own. Like, my brothers had like hamsters, and that's about as far as we got into the pet world in my growing up years. And I think I was always kind of afraid of animals, because I don't like touching them. I don't know if I had a bad experience or something. I don't like petting them. I don't like contact with animals that much. And so I never really thought about animals at all before this. And then just watching the videos and just, I don't know, taking on this lifestyle, I felt so much more connected to animals than before. And just seeing that they have this, they're living beings as well, and they have connections within their own species, and they have lives that they want to live, they want to reproduce, they want to have families, I'm sure. And to me, that has just been so cool, to be able to have this compassion for animals and this love for animals and this desire for them to be able to live the measure of their creation, I guess. And this really struck me when I was watching about dairy, a video about dairy. I never really, I think I wondered, like everyone else, well, milk's not that bad, right? Like we don't kill cows to get milk. And I was watching a scene of a baby being taken away from a milk cow, and the mom was just like mooing in anguish for the baby. Yeah. And I was breastfeeding my baby at the same time, and I just like, it was too emotional for me. I just couldn't handle it because I was like, I feel so connected and bonded, and I want to protect my baby. And I just think she is experiencing so much anxiety because this baby has been taken away and she doesn't know, and she's supposed to take care of it. And it just hit me so much how much more alike we are to animals than we aren't. And I think it's just made me a more compassionate person in general. I often wonder, how can we expect a more peaceful world? How can we expect change to happen between human beings when we don't value all of life, when we don't value animals and their rights and everything? And I just think it's part of the whole picture. We can't ignore that part too.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it's just made me very passionate about animals, and I just love them. I want to take care of them, and I want to give them life. I want them to be able to live in a beautiful way.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And isn't it, it's powerful, both you and I, similarly, we didn't grow up, subscribing to that, compassion for animals, like animal rights, like that was something very extreme, radical protesters worried about. That's not something that like was on our radar or that we connected with. But isn't it powerful that once you do connect with it, it just makes so much sense, and it resolves. In our conversation, we were talking about cognitive dissonance. Tell us what you mean by cognitive dissonance.
Sure. So something that I just was telling you that I struggle with in my life is cognitive dissonance. It's when we say we believe something, or when we say we feel a certain way, and then we act differently than what we say, or what we say we'll do, or what we say we feel. And so, like with animals, we might say like, "Oh, I love animals," but then we might eat meat 3 times a day, and like. To me, I think we just don't think about it, but I think it has some underlying weight on us when we live that way, when we say something and then we do something that's really contradictory to that. And so something that's come from a whole food plant-based diet that I didn't even realize was that I think I was carrying this weight of like eating animals, and that I would not really ever want to watch an animal be slaughtered or packaged. It was just meat. It was just in the grocery store, right? It was just food, but I never really thought about the animal being behind it. But now I do, and I've made the choice. I've made this decision that I'm not going to eat animals anymore unless I absolutely have a need. And then if I do eat animals, if there is a famine, or if there's some time where I have to have them, it will be with such a different attitude than the way I eat animals growing up my whole life. It will be with gratitude for the life that was given, and that's just totally changes who I am and the way I feel about life. And I feel so much more connected to animals. So yeah, I think it's just resolved that cognitive dissonance, because I no longer am saying like, oh yeah, I love animals. And I can say I really do. And I'm not going to eat them.
Yeah, and you can say it, and your actions are aligned with it. This is a funny topic for me, because I was raised in a family that hunting and fishing was what we did, and so now I'm like the vegan in the family, and it's kind of strange, but there is, I can second, I guess, what you're saying of just kind of that. To me, it's a peace. It's a, I don't know. It's an alignment of of course I don't eat animals. Like,
Yeah.
and I think the light bulb really goes on for me when it went on for me when I realized, when I learned enough about nutrition, truthfully about nutrition, that we don't need animals. We
Hmm.
don't need to eat the flesh of another living being, because everything we need is actually put on this earth in the plant kingdom. It's all there. And to have that light bulb go on, it's like, oh, okay, so now I can understand, and it's okay. It's okay. It resolves that cognitive dissonance, because now it's not my need of nutrition against the animal's need to live. You know, well, if one, like you said, in a famine, if one was going to win out, I would probably eat the animal if I had to. But the fact of the matter is that we don't have to. We don't have to. We can get everything we need from plants. And so that's a really interesting thing to start to bring that, like you said, you kind of bring it into your identity a little bit, and it changes you, changes the way you see the world. So
Yeah. And as you're describing that, I just thought it is really hard to share that feeling, right? It's hard to describe it. It's hard to give it, but I just believe that you will experience it when you have, when you make that change. It will be something that you can feel for yourself. So
yeah, it's actually quite liberating, right?
mm-hmm.
You are that. I love how you kind of explain that cognitive dissonance is like something you were carrying. It was heavy, and yeah, to me, it was like this conflict. It's like this chain that I was stuck with. I'm like, no, I have to drink that milk, and I have to eat that cheese, or I'm sacrificing my health. That's what we're taught, right? That we have to have it. But when that chain is broken, it's like, oh, I'm free. Like, no, I can actually live in alignment with principles that make sense. Like, I don't have to kill some other living being in order to support my life, unless it's absolutely, absolutely necessary. And there's something freeing about that, being able to live that way. So it's neat. I hope that people listening to this are like nodding their heads and being like, yes, I've experienced that same thing. Or if you haven't yet, that they can be like, I would like to experience that. I don't eat dairy. I don't eat meat. Okay, let me go look into that some more. Maybe I'll put there's some really great resources out there. Maybe I'll try to put some links, that if that's new information to people, that we can definitely get that information so we can break that belief. So awesome. Okay, what else? Anything else that you really felt like, okay, there's more to this than just trying to get this transaction of my health to turn around?
Yeah, so one other thing, and I think this is like the other really big thing in plant-based nutrition, is just the stewardship we have over the earth, and the fact that animal agriculture is a very, very wasteful in the way we use earth. We use way too much land, we use way too much water to try to feed a few people. And I think, I think I have just grown up loving nature. I love going to, like, Yellowstone is in my backyard. I love going to Yellowstone and seeing this beautiful place that has kind of been preserved for us to see. And I just want that beauty of this earth to still be around for my girls. And I'm worried that it won't be. I'm worried that we're just taking out forests for animal agriculture. We're just polluting the land because of animal agriculture. And then we're not even like taking care of ourselves. People are still going hungry in the world, and it's just not a sustainable way to eat or live. And I think we're already seeing the effects of it. And we might not make that connection that the way we're eating is causing a whole bunch of things, or is a part of what's causing a whole bunch of things that are going on in our world. But I think it is, and I just think we'll continue to see it unless we decide to change. And so I'm really passionate about eating a plant-based diet, because I think there are so many things I can't control. There are so many things I can't do or change in the world. But today I can eat plants, like every meal. I can do that right now. I could change immediately. And it made me feel so powerful. It's so empowering to be able to actually do something and say, like, I'm no longer contributing to this problem because I've made a choice to do something different. That's really, really empowering.
that is, and I resonate with that so strongly. And it's this idea of voting with our dollar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, like we can feel really like, well, I can't change the decisions that that company or that industry is making.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really true? And the more the more we vote with our dollar, the more, you know, demand for certain products can go down and demand for other products can go up, and it will reshape industry. We're already seeing it. I love following plant-based news. They've got accounts on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube channel, and they share these things like when, you know, when dairy farms are closing down, and because like it just doesn't make sense for them anymore, or to see that, you know, plant milk production is way up and sales are way up, and like that just gives me hope for the world of like, okay, no, we really are making a difference. And yes, maybe just me and my household isn't making a difference, but the fact that other people are seeing the way we're eating and living and trying it out for themselves or asking questions, like I know that there's got to be a ripple effect. And I love throwing my, you know, my dollar in the pool to make sure like it is making a difference and it is contributing. So it's exciting. It is empowering. I totally agree. It's really powerful. Well, that is so, it's awesome. It's awesome to see kind of, yeah, what's underneath the surface is more than just our health. And our health is huge. Let's be honest. Like if you don't have your health, it holds you back from a lot of things. And I love how you shared that very tenderly in your story with Trish of, yeah, it's hard to be held back by your health, and you don't get to show up the way you want to, but you're on the path. You are seeing a little bit of progress, and then you have all these other reasons for staying this way. So I love it. Love it. Is there any other thought you want to share with people that are just frustrated and just ready to, what do you say to someone that's just ready to throw in the towel and say, I'm not getting what I want out of this, I'm done?
Yeah, I would probably say just be open to shifting your perspective a little bit. If you're so focused on health, like I was very focused on my health for a long time, and I spent a lot of nights crying that it wasn't getting better and that I was the only one that didn't have the miracle, right? But as I started shifting my perspective and as I started thinking outside of myself, right? As I started thinking about my daughters and how do I want to raise them and what opportunities do I want to give for them? So I started thinking about animals and their lives and what lives I would want for them to have. And as I start thinking about the earth and what I want to do to contribute to it continuing to be a beautiful place for us to live, right? And that's just when I really was able to relax into eating this way and just be so grateful for it. As I think about plants now, I've also shifted my perspective on food, the way I see food and the way I see plants. They're just miracles. And I think it's really helped me and my husband have gardened for 3 years, and I really didn't garden as a child. And I really didn't know anything about gardening when we started 3 years ago. We just are part of our community garden in our little local area. And it's been so fun because we've been able to connect with other people that garden as well. But it's amazing to plant a seed and then to watch it grow into this like beautiful plant so quickly, really, and then bear fruit. And then to think that we get to go dig up that fruit. Like tonight, we're going to have carrots from our garden and onions from our garden and squash from our garden on pasta. And it's going to be delicious because we love that meal, right? And it's so colorful and so vibrant. And it all just came from this like miraculous experiment, this miraculous seed. And everything was in that seed 4 months ago. And now it's this beautiful, vibrant, colorful, nutritious, has vitamins and minerals. And I can take that into my body and it will bring me health and sustain me and allow me to be active and allow me to do what I need to do. And it's just a miracle. So having that shift in perspective and that gratitude for your food and for what it has for you, I think that's so important. It's an important mindset to have as you're eating this way, and to just recognize that and it's really different than when I ate a standard American diet. Like, I don't think you can have as much gratitude for a prepackaged Pop-Tart, you know, like it's just not the same feeling.
Yeah.
So maybe just leaning into that and seeing your food in that way, I think that could be really helpful, to take on that mindset and to just really live in gratitude for the abundance of beautiful, beautiful, vibrant, delicious food that is perfect for our bodies.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. Well, Mallory, I really appreciate you spending some time with me today and sharing your story and sharing your wisdom and your experience. So I know that you have created some really powerful resources for people. Will you tell us where people can learn more about you and tell us a little bit of what's available that you've created?
Sure. So I've just created a website. It's www.sondarity.io. And maybe you can link to that since sondarity is kind of a funny word. And then in my store there, me and my husband created a plant-based course together. It basically dives into our journey of eating a plant-based diet and kind of goes over all the things we've learned, all the obstacles we've had to overcome, how we do this with our kids, how we do it while we travel, how we do it, you know, and all sorts of resources. Because when we started out this way, we like really didn't know anyone that was doing it. And it's just really nice to be able to connect with other people and to kind of see, oh, how do you do this? How do you manage this? So we've kind of put that together. And then I do have 2 plant-based cookbooks as well with just recipes that we love from our family and that we eat in our family all the time. So I put those together. And yeah, I guess you can find me on Instagram. It's Sondarity as well. And I spend some time there. So those are kind of my places.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I hope people will go check those things out. I think, you know, we're always looking for, like you said, like, how do you do it? Like you want somebody to sit you down and say, no, really, how does this work? What is this going to look like? And I, especially with recipes, I think just having tried and true recipes that someone can say, I feed my family this all the time, and handing that to you, so powerful. So I hope people will go and check that out. And thank you again so much. And let's keep spreading this message, and hopefully we will change the world. So thank you so much, Mallory.
Thank you.